Shut up and sit down.
Welcome to the Bricks King podcast, where I'm going to bend your ear about Lego, review those amazing bricks of plastic, and discuss what is new and up and coming around the Lego world. I'm your minifig host, Matt. Let's build on it. Welcome in, everybody. How are we doing today? Hopefully you are doing well, no matter where you are on this blue marble of ours. Today we have Tom Jurassic back again, this time to discuss the new JP30 sets that will be coming available June 1st. Plus, there's some extra tidbits in here that you are going to want to listen to, so stay tuned until the end of the episode so you can get some of that goodness from Tom and a project he's been working on. I promise you it is well worth it. And man, let's just go ahead and jump square into this because there's so much to divulge. I promised all of you Tom Jurassic for the JP30 stuff, and you are getting Tommy J with all of the JP30 stuff. Although, you know, we could always have had more. I mean, but I don't know. I was thinking about this yesterday. Like, well, what else could we have? So I'm sure there are plenty of things just from the film. So, Tom, welcome back. It's not been very long, but we're ready to roll again, man.
Yeah, it's not been long, but it's exciting. Obviously, the last time we spoke, we were talking about Dominion, which was very much the focus of last year. And I think it's really cool that actually we're in a period of time where we've gone straight from a brand new release to such an iconic anniversary of such a piece of cinema history that it's really exciting to get to go from the latest entry in the saga to now talking about the thing that kicked it off and actually led to so much of what we saw unfold in Dominion. So it's cool being here, and it's cool that Lego are continuing to carry the Jurassic franchise forward outside of the films again, because that's something we've never been sure about post each cinema release. They didn't do it with the first Jurassic World, so it's really cool that we're getting more after Dominion this time as well.
Yeah, you know, after Jurassic World, I think a lot of people were kind of thinking, well, you know, it would be nice if we got some originals and stuff, like have the Jurassic World wave and then kind of, you know, on the side, like some themes do, have a secondary release and it be Jurassic Park stuff. So I know ever since they announced the gates, people have just been chomping at the bit saying, oh my God, we need to have more. And you and I have talked at length about it in the past. Like, we need this, we need that. And knowing what is coming in the not too recent past, we kind of prognosticated what was coming and is now here. So,
there may have been some whispers on some in-gen database somewhere, you know.
I'm sure there was, you know, it got hacked, we mined it, and it just happens, you know. You can't leave that information on the open source.
I'll tell you what, to quote Ray Arnold from the first Jurassic Park, I'm so sick of this hacker crap.
Yep. That's exactly
and you
what's
might
going
need to bleep that.
Nah, never. Never. We're leaving it straight. I'll tag something on here and say, well, you know, listen at your own risk.
I think that just sums up any episode I want, to be fair.
Yeah, of course. I get some of the funniest comments in my email inbox or social media inboxes, and like, yeah, I know. It's great. When I launched Patreon, I teased it. All the beginning and end stuff that we do, you know, where we stay on and we're stupid chatting, I'm going to put it up as a Patreon thing, as like an extra thing. I'm doing it.
It's worth it. It's worth it.
It's absolutely worth it. Even if it's just, you know, the 20 minutes or whatever it is, it ends up being, it's just absolute hair down gold.
Yeah.
So let's talk about the film. Obviously, 30 years later seems impossible. Massive massive film, set the boundary really for everything moving forward.
Yeah.
I don't think there will be anything quite like it ever again. I mean, we're talking a complete different idea of filmmaking at that point in time. And the film still to this day stands the test of time and stands up to a lot of others. And is like, well, yours is nothing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Jurassic Park is so iconic because I think it came out at the right time, and that is really the key for this. Is Jurassic Park came out just as virtual special effects were first being developed for the film industry, and Spielberg really took a gamble on this film by obviously using his animatronics, which were so heavily ingrained in films in the 80s and 90s, to then going forward with this new technology and actually making the decision to implement it as a part of this film in the ways that he did. It really is iconic when it comes to the history of cinema. And when you look at this film particularly, I think it says so much about Spielberg's vision as a director that he decided to have those iconic CGI T-Rex shots set at night when he knew that the lighting could mask the CGI better. And by using his understanding of the basic principles of cinema, which are light, color, focus, all of those things, he was able to make something that really felt so grounded that it sold cinema film goers on visual effects. And because of that, we now have the films we have today. Films like Avatar, for example, where you have nearly all of the film made virtually. That's only possible because Spielberg, with this film, proved that visual effects could work and they could work so well. So I think Jurassic Park is such an iconic story, such a great piece of cinema in its own right, but it's also so important because it really was a linchpin to the cinema that we now enjoy today.
Yeah, I 100% agree with that. There's a lot of things that would not have come forth, like you had mentioned with Avatar, had it not been for him and his vision, which it was just incredible for its time. It still is 30 years later. You know, it's one of the, if you were going to list top 10 moments in cinematography, his is up near the top, if not at the top, to set the bar. And, you know, people have piggybacked off it and everything like that. But he is basically the grandfather that has set this in motion for all these other incredible films.
Yeah, he really is. You're spot on. And this film is the film that really carries that legacy forward, I think. And I think it helps that it's such a great grounded story as well. You know, Michael Crichton was such a talented storyteller in the sense that although his stories were science fiction, they were very much grounded in science. And I think that makes it so much more immersive and so much more believable. And I think when it's a story that's, yes, not fully realistic, but it blurs the line so much that it could be realistic, it makes it so much more immersive as a viewer and so much more enjoyable as well. And that, again, is one of Jurassic Park's greatest strengths, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. It really, man, it just stands up to everything. It just really does. And then,
Yeah.
you know, we're going to jump into the Lego stuff here in a minute, but I don't even know, just everything that has come from it. I mean, you're a toy collector guy, you know, the Jurassic, everything Jurassic. There's just, there are some things that just, I don't know. It's just incredible. I keep saying there is nothing else like it in my mind. Nothing.
Yeah.
From film to everything else that it is, you know, had piggybacked off of it, whether it be, in this case, toy or anything else. There's nothing the same.
No, and I think it's because as well, Jurassic Park as a story, when you think about it, it's not got a massive ensemble. It's not a ton of main characters. It's a very, very small, intimate story. And I think that's what works so well with it as well, is it's something that's got Hollywood's, like, Hollywood level spectacle.
Yes.
But not Hollywood scale, if that makes sense. So it's produced to a Hollywood standard, but the story you're getting is so much more intimate and character driven than other films, I think.
Well, and the other thing, you mentioned the story, and I skimmed over Michael Crichton, but he's, man, that story, the two books that he wrote for the Jurassic franchise were incredible. I've got them in a double bound version. But when we look at these sets here in a moment, every one of them, the writing in those those scenes from the film, you can feel it in the set itself.
Yeah.
The minute details that the writers took to get a certain reaction or, emotion from the scene, you feel it just in the pictures right now. We don't even have them in our hands yet. We've got a few months away, but my God. So, you said we're gonna start at the top. We'll do the, you want to go cheapest to the, most expensive. That's going to break your piggy bank.
Matt, no. We've got to build it up, my friend. We've got to build it up. So I think I'm going to completely turn your show on its head.
Please do.
We're going to start with the smallest. So we're going to start with Dilophosaurus ambush. So this is a set that here in the UK will retail for, I can't tell you because I've clicked onto all the product images. It will retail for £20.99.
Yeah.
And this, as the name implies, is the iconic moment when Dennis Nedry crashes the Jeep. He hits the E-Stock sign and he is encountered by the Dilophosaurus in his final moments. And this is such an iconic moment of the film. It's such a build up to the reveal of the Dilophosaurus in the film, because obviously you don't see it initially in the tour. And I think this is a really, really cool set. I think that it's nice getting this version of Nedry in the raincoat for anyone who didn't get the Gates D2C set. It's really cool getting the printed Barbasol can. The Dilophosaurus here looks absolutely gorgeous. I think this is the definitive Lego Dilophosaurus that many of us have wanted, and finally they've realised it. And
So
then the bit, go on.
What makes this Dilophosaurus better than the rest? Obviously, there is something specific, but what specifically, Tom?
So for me, it's the color scheme. It's the dark green on the lime green that works so well, and then it's the printed red and yellow crests. It just feels so much closer to what we see on screen than anything else we've seen. Especially the last wave, the Legends of Isla Nublar Dilophosaurus that was reused in the Dominion sets, just wasn't particularly screen accurate. Whereas this one feels like the color scheme is spot on to that 1993 one, or at least as spot on as you're going to get on a smaller scale dinosaur figure without the articulation.
Sure.
At this scale, at this price point as well. So I'm quite happy with it. The crests, yeah, you could have more red on the crest on this, actually, on the head. But obviously that's not how this particular piece works, and they're not going to mold it in a different color, and it would be impossible to print around it red.
Yeah.
So it is what it is within the limits of a Lego set, and I think for that it works quite well. And then the builds, I think, are interesting. I think the little side build with the E-Stock sign is quite pivotal for this scene. It's weird to me that the E-Stock sign is stuck on a square plate rather than a square plate at an angle, so it's got more of the shape. But obviously it just isn't quite spot on shape wise, but that's me nitpicking. I think this is such a vital inclusion, and obviously you get the spinning arrow, which is so important for this scene. And then you also get Jeep 12, and I really like the build of the Jeep. It looks like it is an iteration on the version that we first got back in the Jurassic World line. Which is so cool because that was originally going to be a Jurassic Park Jeep. As I know we've discussed on the show before, that was changed very last minute to be a Jurassic World colour scheme vehicle instead. So it's cool to see them going back to the roots, actually using newer building techniques. So whereas previously the Jeep build would have had the crowbars on either side to sort of capture the shape of the windscreen, now you have this newer piece with the 4 studs and the minifigure sort of bar frame around it.
Yes.
That really helps to better capture that texture. Obviously lots of nice stickers on this, the tyre on the back and the space for the cryocan inside. Also looks like it takes the best element of the Biosyn Jeep Gladiator, which is the ability to sit two figures side by side. So that's a very welcome inclusion here. It does look like it will be tight, however. It does look like it's just 4 studs there. So interested to see how that works in practice. I think my biggest gripe with this is the way they've tried to make the Jeep muddy. So you've got some sort of brown pieces used to try and make the Jeep appear muddy.
Yeah.
And it's okay. It kind of works, kind of ruins the aesthetic in some ways, especially down on the license plate, for example. The license plate, you have mud across the Jurassic Park logo, and if you wanted to use this for a clean version of Jeep 12, it's probably going to bother you.
Yes.
So what I really wish they had done here, and they might have done it, we won't know until we get the set in hand for sure, but I really wish there were 2 sticker sheets here, similar to what they did with the recent release of the Quinjet, where you would get, say, in that set, Avengers logos or S.H.I.E.L.D. logos, and here it would have been really cool to have seen muddy logos or clean logos, so you could go away and make your own version of Jeep 12 if you wanted to. I don't think that's going to be here, unfortunately, which is slightly disappointing. But at the end of the day, if the biggest gripe with this set is, it's too muddy, then clearly it's not an awful set by any stretch of the imagination. I definitely think that this is one of the sets that gives quite a complete package and doesn't feel particularly awful from a price per part ratio. I do think that as we go through these sets, however, it will become quite apparent that the amount you're going to be paying for these sets compared to what you get in them doesn't quite correlate. And there definitely is some issue around value on this assortment as a whole, I'd say.
Gotta pay for that IP, man.
You do. Matt, I've spoken straight at you for like 6 minutes there, so hit me with anything I've missed.
Well, I just, I'm letting you go. I was just waiting. The East Dock sign, you had mentioned it, where you have the where it's supposed to be pentagonal. Obviously, it's on a rounded tile. That is actually able to be 100% 360 degrees rotated around because it is attached to a Technic pin. I noticed when the photos came out, that actual piece, that white piece there, it is an actual Technic piece. So it can rotate the whole way around, which I think is really neat. The other thing Atticus had mentioned when these were, sent out, everything on social media popped for these. When the announcement came, there are frogs in the sets in every one of these. And he had mentioned it had to do with the frog DNA that was used to create the dinosaurs. So you get a bunch of different colored frogs, in this case, a white one, but you're going to see different colored frogs peppered throughout these sets, which I think is a great Easter egg to add into it.
It's a really fun callback to the Gate set where the T-Rex and that had a frog inside it as well, I think.
Yeah, I think you're right. I'm going to have to find mine. It's stuck away somewhere.
So yeah, it's a really nice deep note. And I do actually want to say, obviously, if you're listening to this and you haven't checked out Matt's interview with Atticus for the T-Rex breakout set, do go and listen to that. And it's been really cool seeing Atticus online, engaging with the community, and clearly really excited that these sets are out there at last as well. So that's been quite awesome to witness.
Yeah, it was a great interview. I had sent him a message through the network, and he said that he would do another interview talking about, because I don't think he's done all of these. He's definitely had a hand in doing most of these that we're going to finish talking about. But he said that he would come on again, so we will make sure. He said
he'd only come back on if I'm there, right?
That's exactly. He did. He did. He's like, if you don't have that clown back on there this time, I'm not coming back. No.
It's all right. Atticus, you're allowed to call me a clown. It's all good.
But yeah, somebody that may not be a consistent listener, if you're a Jurassic person, you need to go listen to that. I'll actually link it in the show notes, and then those of you that are listening to this, you can go check that out. A direct link to it. So, anything else about this one, Tom, before you move on to the next, whichever one you want to go to?
I'm all ready to move on to Velociraptor Escape.
Yes, let's go.
Okay, so Velociraptor Escape is the 4 Plus set. It will retail for $31.99, I believe. Yep, I got that right first time for a change. And this is a juniorized version of the Velociraptor paddock from the first film. So, build here, very, very basic. It has a nice printed console piece that appears to have a scan of the Velociraptor on it. The green frog in this set is quite pronounced, quite obvious, and you do get a reuse of the printed Jurassic Park circular tiles that first came in the Camp Cretaceous wave. They were available in the 4 Plus set in that wave. So it's cool seeing them popping up here again. You get the reuse of an interesting piece from the City line, which is the City Baby Crocodile egg, which came out in the Safari line, and it's really cool. I always like to think, by the way, Matt, when I drop stuff like that, you're like, he does actually like Lego. He's not just faking it. So this is a really cool reuse of that part. The big caveat here is it is green skin around a yellow eye rather than yellow skin around a green eye.
Sure.
But you could say that's a callback to the classic green Velociraptor that's been used on so much of the iconography for the classic Kenner toys, and the classic toys around the Jurassic line more broadly. So I think that's fine. You get a quad bike that is done in the colours of the Ford Explorer, very, very similar to the mini build that came with one of the foil magazines.
Yes.
Which was included alongside a Vic Hoskins minifigure for The Legend of Isla Nublar. And here we get Dr. Ellie Sattler, a new print for her, I believe, although it is an outfit we've received before. Interestingly enough, the legs on this figure this time around only have print on the front, whereas in the past we have had, I think they were dual molded as well as side printed, or if not, they had side printing on them, legs for Dr. Sattler. So it's a shame in some ways seeing a step back in the quality here, given the fact that those legs are still in circulation because they're used on Grace Augustine in the Avatar line. So a slight disappointment there, but nothing major. We do get Robert Muldoon. Obviously, Muldoon is a fantastic character from the first film. To get more contrast on his outfit here, Lego opted to give him a white uniform with a tan sort of waistcoat, or his hunter's jacket even, and his tan hat. The face sculpt for Robert Muldoon looks quite good. The printing on it is quite spot on, I would say. It's just a shame that his outfit is white here. It is quite clearly tan in the film, and clearly some of the reference materials which are used for the Jurassic line are not fully up to the standard that we would expect, because I know that when Mattel first previewed their Amber collection Robert Muldoon, he also had a grey uniform on for some reason, and they later corrected that, but clearly there's an issue with some of the reference material that's being provided to partners on the franchise there, so that's something that will hopefully be corrected as we go forwards. And then lastly but not least, we have the Velociraptor, and this Velociraptor is absolutely fantastic.
It is.
The grey and brown printing is great. You get the green
so
eye, get some dark tan highlights on the face. And this really does feel like the Jurassic World Lego game Velociraptor design, which looks so detailed. So from that perspective, it's wonderful. And it's really cool seeing something that has as much detail as the game versions. Because I think as fans of this franchise especially, I see a lot of people often look at that game, see a design which perfectly translates an animal from the film onto a Lego body, and then not understand why Lego don't use that print pattern. So it's really cool to see something that's actually close to the game counterpart here as well. So I think overall it's a really cool set. I do think the fact it's a junior set means that for $31.99 you're not getting a huge bang for your buck.
No.
Which is unfortunate.
Yeah.
And I would have loved to have seen another minifigure included here. I think there is a recurring theme throughout a couple of these sets where an additional minifigure would have made a massive difference. In this case, I think if we had seen Joffrey, the Jurassic Park worker who is ultimately attacked by the Velociraptor in the beginning introduction sequence, it would have been really cool to get a printed Jurassic Park body that we could then use to make our own worker minifigures, much like they have done in other licenses, giving you a set with a generic character that you can then use to amass those park workers. So it's a shame that he's not here. Overall, it's a strong set, but definitely not the best set in the wave, in my opinion.
Well, before we move any further, we've got to take a quick ad break. We will be back in a moment. No, it's most definitely not. So a few things. The Raptor, I didn't even think about it. The game. Once you said it, I was like, oh my God, he's right. It is pretty much the identical Raptor from the game. So that was kind of neat. I know you had talked about, the whole Joffrey scene. You've wanted it. I mean, maybe when Jurassic Park turns 40, I don't know. Who knows? I would love to be able to see that to come around to fruition. The thing that I had a question about, and I tried to go back in my head, put myself back in the movie, watching the movie, Muldoon, and I have an issue with the white uniform as well. Okay. Were his boots? His boots were black, right?
I think they're dark brown.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yes. You are right. It is dark brown. The issue I have is when you look at the legs here, you go from the top half of it is white. Then you have that little color paint strip of peach, and then you have white. And when I originally saw that, I was like, that looks like some kind of uniform like a tow truck driver would wear so he doesn't get hit by cars on the side of the road.
My God, Matt, I hate you. I hate you so much. I can't unsee it now.
I know.
Why have you done that? Oh my God.
I'm so sorry. That's originally what I was like, oh my God, that's it. But
you literally ruined this minifigure for me.
I wish they would have just done the tan. Just do the tan, and then paint whatever else on there that you need to.
This gets into a broader issue, I feel, which is, and this is potentially controversial, but I feel like Lego don't put enough effort into printing their minifigures anymore. And what I mean by that is when we reference the fact that Ellie in the past has had that wraparound printing. Why is that not here on Muldoon? Why was it not on any of the kids in the Camp Cretaceous wave? It just looks a lot cheaper, in my opinion. And I understand it has cost ramifications, but these are expensive sets. Lego have got record profits. A little bit of additional printing would go a long way to make people feel like they're getting the definitive versions of characters that, in a lot of cases, were really important to people's childhoods. So I'd love to see that extra investment in the future and actually invest in the quality of these sets.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree. You had mentioned price. I did want to mention, obviously you guys that are here in the United States, price is not the same. It is a $40 set here, but they're all price comparable pretty much up and down the line. It doesn't matter what currency is used. It's a few dollars here, a few dollars there. I think the translation to whatever you guys use it's like $38 high $38 or something like that compared to USD. So those of you are like, wait, that's not fair. Don't freak out. It's fine. It's literally the same. It's just a different currency. But the set,
and if you wanna complain about things not being fair, guys, the UK hasn't got any of Mattel's Hammond collection, so I've had to import all of it. So pipe down and sit back down in the corner.
As Daniel Tosh would say, nana nana boo boo, stick your head in doo doo.
Wow.
I'm just ruining everything today, aren't I?
Keep doing it, Matt. Let's keep going. Should we ruin the next set while we're doing it?
Well, I don't know how I'm going to ruin this.
It's pretty hard to ruin something that's already got one big pile of
Oh, I knew it was coming. I knew it was going to get fit in there somehow. Okay.
I'm so proud of myself for how smoothly integrated that was.
That segue was perfect. All right. So the Triceratops research, which I don't like the name of that. I think it could have been like sick Triceratops.
Research.
I like a different name for it. Please go back and change it. Lego. I need you to go back and change all of your packaging as well.
Never did I think I would see a Lego set that was so excited about its main play feature being pulling something out of poo.
Well, I mean, it's super important, dude. You know?
It is. I just can't believe they built the whole set around it.
You just got to get it. It's
Like
just got to get done.
the way Ellie's holding them after pulling them out. Is she about to eat them? Like, are these West Indian lilac berries the delicacy on Isla Nublar for people?
They are today.
Little bit of Triceratops flavoring on them.
Yeah, I think it's kind of funny.
So do I. Go ahead. After you, Matt.
The set I love. We get another Explorer, which is great.
Yes.
I like the little play feature there that you had mentioned with the berries. I think it's kind of funny. Just, a little homage to the actual moment in the film. The Explorer, I didn't look close enough at the T-Rex breakout. Is this pretty much the same here?
No, I've seen people saying it has a different roof build.
Okay, I thought the roof was slightly different.
Yeah, which is quite cool. But apart from that, it looks like it's got the same spacious interior. One thing I'm hoping for here, that obviously I was saying on the Nedry set, is about alternate stickers. The Nedry set, it wouldn't make so much sense. But here it really does make sense because there's one Explorer in this whole wave and there's two Explorers in the film. So it would make a lot of sense for this to actually come with the 05 sticker as well and for you to choose which Explorer it is. I don't think they'll have done that here, but that would have been a really nice touch. Apart from that, though, the Explorer looks like it's still got the park map printed in it. It looks like it's possibly got the torch in the back as well, or that might be the shovel that's stored. But actually, yeah, it looks like it's the shovel. But apart from that, it's pretty consistent with what's come beforehand, which is nice. You get the printed hubcaps, which are so great. You get the pile of doo-doo, and then you get Dr. Ian Malcolm, Dr. Eddie Sattler, and also the Triceratops. The Triceratops, I think the colour scheme is a little bit dark.
Yeah.
But I don't know what other colour Lego have that actually would look better.
Yeah, I don't either. I was thinking about it, and you look at the color from the Triceratops in the film, and I'm right there with you. I was like, okay, it's a little too dark, but where else do you go with it? Because pretty much anything else that you use is going to look horrible.
Yeah. So I think that they've done the best they can with it, really. The one thing I would say is this set is 281 pieces. It's $46.99 here in the UK. This is the set I look at and I think this value stinks.
Yeah.
I really, and not just because there's poo in the set, I really feel like with this set, this needed an additional minifigure as well. And it is so obvious who should have been in it. If you had put Jerry Harding in this set as the vet from the scene,
I know,
it would have been perfect.
It would have.
So it's disappointing that that's not here. This is, again, a nice set. And what I will say is the designers across the board have done a fantastic job of capturing so many moments of iconography from the film. Like, each set feels like it captures a specific frame from the film, which is awesome. I just feel like there's a little bit missing here that could have been added to give us additional value, whether that is Jerry Harding, whether that's Lex or Tim in their alternate outfits that we don't see in this wave. And there could have been something here to just add additional value to this set, I feel.
Yeah, there's always something. The price, $50 here in the US it seems a little steep. Like you said, there's not a whole lot that you're getting here, but I shouldn't say not a lot getting here, but it's the Triceratops. It's all the plastic is right there. And unfortunately, that's why it is what it is. I thought about this when I originally saw these, when I got the files for them. I was like, oh my goodness, how great would it have been to have, oh my goodness, help me.
Jerry Harding.
It would have been great to have him. And in the worst way, I wanted a brick-built Triceratops on its side in the worst way.
Yeah, that would have been so cool.
You can mark it up to $80 or whatever. I wanted it in the worst way.
Yeah. Honestly, that could actually be a really, really cool display set because then if you're getting more into an adult build, you can use lots of the grass pieces like are
Yeah.
around the poo build. I can't believe that's a sentence I
I
keep
know.
saying. You could use loads of them to get the long grass as well, and it would be a really cool looking aesthetic set, I think.
Well, and even the new fern pieces that came out with the
Yes.
Lord of the Rings, I that would have been fantastic as well. To
Yeah.
toss in here, but I mean, I think it's solid for what it is. My
Oh,
own,
yeah.
my only, like I said, I would love to have Harding in here as an extra minifig. I think that thing would have gone over extraordinarily well. You would have had.
Okay, so I am very sorry to butt in, but
No,
I've
you're
just
fine.
noticed something that's quite
The
fascinating.
chocolate frog.
No, the Ellie figure is exclusive because she's covered in and she's not in the other sets. Oh
Ew.
my god. I can't believe they've done that.
And
Oh my god.
this is why you are here.
I I'm just shocked. I'm so shocked that we didn't get a Harding, but we do get a unique torso print for Ellie that's got poop stains on it. Like,
Look, she had a problem in the restroom prior to coming out to the field. No. Yeah. I don't know. I don't even have words to
the
to
worst thing
even
is
talk about.
she's covered in that, and Malcolm is still chasing after her on the box art. So
Yeah, he is.
nothing will stop that man.
Man, he is in love.
Right. Okay. Would you like me to move on? Shall I guide us out of this
Well,
crap discussion and into something better?
Yes, we can. But now you're talking about her shirt. I'm looking at the mound of poo, and I'm like, what did the trike do? Did it roll in it as well? Because it's the same dark color.
Oh no.
I'm kidding. We're not going to go down that weird rabbit hole. Let's move on because you and I talked about this, wished it into real life, and it has happened. We talked about how they would do the Brachiosaurus in the Brachiosaurus Discovery set. How would they manage to do that? Are we going to get a brick built one? Because that was your fear. You were thinking it was going to be, and we had talked about it. Is it going to be kind of scrawny? Is it not going to look right? We already had an idea that the Jeep was coming based on the Dominion film, and you were supposed to be there for the interview with Atticus, but this was one of the questions that we had come up with, that you came up with, and it was one of those moments where he had to zip that mouth shut because he knew it was there, and he just glossed right over it, and that was confirmation without officially confirming it. His silence confirmed what you and I had an idea could happen.
We just knew it, we're psychics. We spend a lot of time hanging from the roof in Lego HQ just observing everything that's going on. It's like that scene in Mission Impossible 1. We're just there on a tight piece of string a lot of the time. Well, for me, I've got 3 bits of string. Matt's got 1. That's just how it works. Anyway, this set is very, very cool. I really like the Jeep build. I like that we get a version with the roll cage. And obviously we get the Nedry version as well. I think it's cool to get both those versions. And it's very easy to take this version and modify it into the box version that Muldoon uses later in the film as well. So that's awesome. I really like the tree. I think it's a cool addition of the Brachiosaurus sign on the tree stem there, or on the tree base. One thing I have noticed that's unfortunate, however, is that the Brachiosaurus icon's done in red. And I believe the herbivores were done in green in the original park. So the carnivores would have been red and the herbivores would have been green. So that's slightly unfortunate, but it is what it is. You do get the no flashing photography sign, which is quite cool. You get the cracked egg at the base of the tree, which sort of
Yeah.
hints at this being inspired by the location we see later in the film when Grant discovers that the dinosaurs are breeding. And then we also get a tree where you can put some figures to watch the Brachiosaurus. Again, if you have a classic Lex and Tim from the previous sets, either the Jurassic Park Command compound set that came out earlier, or even the T-Rex breakout, you could put them here and recreate that scene with the Brachiosaurus sneezing and Tim saying "God bless you." On the promo pictures, they show just Grant, but you probably could squeeze more figures in there if you wanted to.
Sure.
The Jeep looks like it can fit 2 figures side by side and 1 figure in the back. You probably could fit more in there if you wanted to squeeze them in. So it's cool seeing a Jeep, it's so spacious. And the Brachiosaurus itself has got some really nice printing on it. It's a really interesting sculpt, and it looks like they've done it in a way where you can lay it backwards on part of its back legs and its tail to balance it standing on its back legs.
Yeah.
But that's because there's no articulation in the legs. And I think that's really unfortunate. I understand it in the smaller dinosaurs, where obviously you don't have a lot of space to work with and put joints in, so the joints are likely to have a lot of pressure on them. But here it does feel unfortunate that there is no articulation in the dinosaur, apart from the neck, the head, and the tail. And the last thing I would note is it is a shame that John Hammond here comes with a full white sleeve printing on the arms, or no printing, just white arms, given that he's used the short sleeves in the past. This is something which I think is endemic with Lego at the moment, which is they'll make a superior version of a minifigure, and then to cut costs will take away some of the additional detail. And I would really love to see Lego move to a model where once they do a figure with, say, Darth Vader, for example, with the printed arms, the second that figure gets printed arms, that should be the figure it comes in every set going forward, unless it's an exceptional circumstance. So it's a shame that we don't see that here. But overall, I think it's a cool set. Again, price-wise, you're paying $74.99,
Yeah.
which actually I don't think is horrific given the size of the Brachiosaurus. I think they could have easily tried to charge more. So I think all things considered, I'm actually quite happy with this set. And I think this is probably my second favourite set in the wave.
Yes. Sentiment is almost the same. You talk about price, $80 here, obviously very, very close, comparable. I think people are going to look at it and say, wow, that's expensive. That's all I get. There's a lot to that tree build. There's the Jeep build is not extremely detailed or anything, but what you're getting with the Brachiosaurus, something that we have wanted. And, you know, action figures, toy manufacturers sometimes will listen to the public. Like, we need this. There's a giant demand out there. Let's see what happens. This was one of them. And, you know, I thought about the articulation of the legs as well. I was like, man, that sucks. I really wanted, if I could add anything else, it would have been that, just to have that little bit of extra realism. But I think the sculpt of the head is great. I love the idea of how this ties into 2 different scenes in the film.
Yeah.
It just does so much. The Hammond thing does bother me a little bit, but my goodness, I really don't have much to, you know, really complain about it. It's just such a solid build as a whole.
Yeah.
And I'm so glad.
I think so. This is something that just popped into my head as you mentioned Hammond. One thing that did bother me a little bit with this line initially was the fact that we've just had Indiana Jones announced and released, where you have the fedora with the hair on it.
Yeah, buddy.
And that's something that Grant would have really benefited from, I feel. I
thought about that when we were talking about when we were talking about Muldoon. I was thinking ahead, and I'm like, okay, because you get that with the Indiana Jones. I was like, man, there's so many opportunities they could have. Oh man, they really could have had it. Now I don't know which came first. So maybe the Indiana Jones hat and hair dual mold was done after these were already done. I don't know.
It's
But
quite
yeah.
possible, to be fair. It's interesting, isn't it, that sometimes Lego, it feels like there's different licenses not quite working in parity, where
Mhm.
actually if they were developed simultaneously, you would get the benefits of the new elements for each line sort of intermingling across those assortments.
Yes.
But like you say, I guess they've got a reason to do 40th anniversary sets.
Oh hell! Before that, we got 35-year anniversary. Let's go. We'll
Yeah.
get it there. So yeah, I really like this. I'm kind of up there. I think this is probably my number 2 right
I
now as
thought
it
the number 2 was
stands.
in the trike set.
Huh?
I thought the number 2 was in the trike set. No, are you? It's all right. Number 2, and I don't know if it's a thing in the US, but in the UK, you say number 2 to
Oh no,
refer to
it's
poo.
it's a US thing. It is. I was just dramatically pausing, letting you hang yourself out to dry there.
Thanks, mate. Much
And
appreciated.
people screaming at their listening device saying, "Shut up, Tom."
I think they're screaming, saying, "Oh my god, does Matt not get it? What?"
There could be that. There's going to be somebody that's like, "I can't believe he does. What is wrong with you?" Yeah, yeah. There may be very much so that.
You've just hung yourself out to dry, Matt. So there.
Well, if the tables haven't turned on the tables, lead us in to the
Yeah.
the climax of the sets, really.
Yeah, so the Visitor Center T-Rex and Raptor attack. It's a Lego Visitor Center. I do not care about all the criticism online. This is fantastic. Like, I don't understand what people expected to get in a Lego Visitor Center at this price point. It was never going to be massive, but the way they've realized it captures the aesthetic of the visitor center so well. You've got the roundels that are usually used for the Jabba's Palace sets to capture the roof of the visitor center. You've got the fossils around the doorway, the double doors, the windows and that are at the iconic angles that make it feel
Yeah.
like it's opening outwards. This is just such a fantastic build, and I am so excited about it. I like the fact that we get a smaller version of the T-Rex inside to still capture that. Still has the issue we had when we discussed the Camp Cretaceous fossil, which is loads of different colours really make this look like a weird skeleton.
No.
It's just frustrating. Lego, honestly, at this point, if you're listening, please just invest in new colours for these pieces, because it's getting to the point where they are a detriment to the sets that you're using them in. These things will look so much better if you just invest in recoloring those pieces. And I get it might be that you can't recolor them because of the strength of the material. If you can't recolor them, use other pieces then. There's got to be a solution here that stops this from fading through on the fossil builds. But that's not. Go ahead, Matt, before I continue.
So you're talking about the fossil build, and this just came to my head right now. I agree 100%. They need to, those ball and socket joints, those kind of things. They have to invest and adjust them, because it's not just this. There's so many others where, like mechs, for example, they have similar things, and it just sticks out like a sore thumb. However, part of this, I could see them getting away with it because, you have like the wired skeleton supporting the actual fossiled skeleton. So I could see some of that. I was just thinking about it, that you could get away with some of it, but there's a lot of really weird things, like a pin sticking out the side that's the wrong color, the way wrong color. Not to try and be uber nitpicky, but you know. Well, before we move any further, we've got to take a quick ad break. We will be back in a moment.
Yeah. I get it. I do. That said, I like the use of the battle droid bodies for the feet. Actually, I just noticed that, and that's a really cool part usage. I also like the fact that we get the printed "When Dinosaurs Ruled the Earth" banner. That's so iconic. So it's awesome that they squeezed it in here. And then I personally, and I know it's been criticized, I really like the interior. I think that capturing both the area where Lex and Tim catch a moment of respite and eat the jelly, and then also capturing the lab is really, really cool. It's two areas that haven't been captured before. And I reckon with some slight modification, you'll be able to connect this to the older control room set as well,
Yeah.
and have a really, really cool interior for this set. So I think it captures exactly really what you want it to. At this scale, you've got spaces where figures can play. You have some really, really gorgeous sticker detailing. You get the Mr. DNA logo or Mr. DNA character inside the lab. You get some detail on the computer screens. And then my absolute favorite detail, and I tweeted out about this, and I think I sent it to you as well, Matt, and was like, oh my god, look at this, is they have the dinosaur murals from the back of the visitor center.
Yes.
So you have a Lego Parasaurolophus on the laboratory side, and you have the iconic Velociraptor mural on the side where Lex and Tim are sat with the ice cream, and you actually have the frog in this set blended in as a piece of ice cream as well,
It
which
is
is so
incredible.
cool. It's so clever.
Yes.
So there's just so much to really like in terms of the interior build here. You get the iconic robot arm with the egg incubator, for example. It's just a lot of things that are really, really cool here. In terms of minifigures, you get new versions of Lex and Tim, which are awesome. And you also get the Survivor versions of Alan Grant and Ellie Sattler, which are so cool as well. I'm so happy that they decided to give us these unique versions that reflect how these characters look at the end of the film, because it means you now have more rugged versions of them that can go with Malcolm with the splinter on his leg if you have that figure from the Gate set as well.
Yes.
Then we get Ray Arnold, and again, I love the fact that they made this a different version. This is Ray from later in the film when he's more relaxed. This is the aesthetic he has when he goes into the control bunker to reset the power. And it's different than the version we got before, which comes with the lab coat from the start of the film. So again, they're giving you a way to get characters that you might have missed, while also making sure that some of the characters stay exclusive to the original Gate set. And I think that's fantastic. And then also we get Dr. Henry Wu. And the thing I love for Wu here is the fact that he uses the new skin color that was used on Din Djarin in the Naboo Starfighter set that came out recently. I think this is so spot on for Dr. Wu, and it's a face print that I will likely take and use on my other versions of Wu as well, because I think it much better reflects him. So that's awesome. So some really awesome minifigures, another Velociraptor, which I believe is the same as the 4+ set, and then the T-Rex. And the T-Rex is my only gripe, because I still don't feel Lego have ever printed a T-Rex that looks like the Jurassic Park T-Rex. I think the 2015 T-Rex is still close enough. This one just doesn't quite cut it for me. This is a cool T-Rex. It's not the Jurassic Park T-Rex, but it is what it is. But yeah, that's my thoughts on this set. This is my number one set.
Yes.
I think we've got a Lego Visitor Center. Sure, it's not the Visitor Center many people want, but aesthetically, you look at it at a glance, you know what it is. And in my mind, if you can look at something quickly and identify exactly what it is, what it's from, then that's a really good build.
Yeah, I love this set. It is my number one as well. Everything that is here is just really well done. It captures so much. The front aesthetic alone, like you had mentioned, it works so well. You have the banner. You can either hang the banner, along the back, or if you want to have it, as it's falling or whatever, you can find a way to modify that if you so choose. You get some really great minifigs. You get solid scenes. Like you had mentioned, the use of the frog is ingenious here in this spot. I just love everything about it. I know, like you had mentioned as well, there's going to be people that are like, well, it's the visitor center, but I wish it's not what we wanted. You know what? There is always a potential that a visitor center could be like a UCS version type thing.
Yeah.
It's going to cost you $300. It's going to be like a Bugle, the Daily Bugle set. It's going to be something like
yes,
that.
Please.
And
trust me when I say, if we can get 2 UCS Hulkbusters, we can get anything. Yeah,
absolutely. At this point, yes. I mean, if Star Wars can put out UCS X-Wings every 3 years, I'm pretty sure we can get, come on, let's go. But I really like this for what it is. You had mentioned, you could, with probably minimal modifications, connect it to the other small set from a few years ago. There's just so much here. I really like it. The T-Rex thing, I don't think we'll ever get the correct T-Rex. I think that ship has sailed and we're just going to get what we get. And
that ship has sailed and it's on its way to San Diego. I believe it's called the SS Venture.
Why did I know that was going to fit in here? So as a whole, I really like the wave that we're going to get. I don't recall seeing a date for release. Traditionally, a lot of the Jurassic stuff has come out.
I've got a date for you in front of me.
Okay.
Mr. Brick King. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Coming soon on 1st of June, 2023.
Yeah, I figured it was going to be June 1. It's usually the beginning. Now, I'll be curious to see if that's June 1st worldwide or that's June 1st Europe. Because if it's June
1st Europe, I've got you, baby.
Woohoo, baby. I'm gonna be blowing that money like crazy.
By saying I've got you, I'll just send photos saying, in my position.
Oh my God. Thank you. You're so kind. You're so kind. But yeah, I'm ready for them. It seems so far off. It just gives people time to save up. That's all it does. Until you find out something that comes out April 1st or May 1st. And you're like, there goes my budget. It's gone.
Yeah, it's easily done.
It is very easily done.
I'm just doing some quick mental maths on this. And I think you're looking at about, blimmin' heck, maybe £280, £290 for the whole line.
Yeah, that probably seems about right. What I do know is usually when they make a wave of things, not just Jurassic, there's usually a max of where they want for everything to fit in there. And I've talked to a design, God, this was a few years ago, design team about it, and I don't even remember what it was about. It might have been Ninjago or whatever. And, they say, well, what are we going to put at the $20 price point? What can we get at, this price point? And for the most part, a wave is somewhere between 350 and 400 USD. So we're pretty much right there in that wheelhouse where it's to be expected. You have your 4+ set, which is absurdly priced because of what you have with it, with the little kid building abilities. But yeah, it's not going to break the bank like some others, but you definitely are going to have to prepare for it. I know that the hot ticket items immediately, the top end things, but I think the Triceratops set is probably going to do a lot better than most people realize. It's at a solid price point and you're actually getting something pretty good. The rest of it's great too, but I think that's a happy medium for a lot of people right there at that price point.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's going to be a rush on release day to get these. So if you're planning to pick these up yourself, all I can really say is make sure you hold on to your butts.
Hold on to those VIP points if you're using Lego.
Yes.
Don't do that. Now,
I'm gonna make you so jealous right now. I've been bracing. I have 7,483 VIP points saved up for this.
I have just under 28,000 points. So
Matt, can I have some points?
Can we do an underground points transition? the VIP points black market.
So I think we know who buys more Lego here.
Well,
and that's why they call you the Bricks King.
Yeah. I always save them. I had mentioned this before. I can't part with them. It's a problem.
So this is currency it's never going to get spent. When the zombie apocalypse arrives and we're stumbling around the earth, there's still going to be 28,000 points in your Lego VIP account that's never been spent.
And you know what? That currency will be better than money. I'll be able to use it wherever I
It
want.
will. That's going to be the currency of the apocalypse. Mark my
Yeah.
words.
Heck with trading supplies and goods. Nah, I got VIP points. Watch this.
Who needs to invest in Bitcoin when you've got Lego VIP points?
That's exactly it. Get your crypto out of here. I got VIP points. It's just as good. It's better. But yeah.
What do you mean they're only accepted at one type of store worldwide?
Well, somebody had mentioned to me, I just had to be kind. Well, you only have so long to use them. Yeah, if you choose not to spend, if you choose not to buy anything, as long as you're actively buying, I think it's 18 months is the timeline that you use them or lose them.
My friend, Lego have got you over the barrel. You're not spending your VIP points, and you're spending more money on Lego to keep your VIP points. They've got you firmly in that ecosystem, my friend.
But I need them. It's my security blanket.
Matt, it's okay. It's okay. We'll talk off air. It's fine. Don't worry.
I'm gonna need to get my therapist on the phone right now. No, they'll get used at some point. My thing is, I'm like, okay, that is enough for a set that's $200 or slightly over.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, what am I going to wait for? What can I? And then I'm like, no, I don't want to use it on that. What else is going to come out? So I know it's a problem. It is a problem.
It's all right, Matt. We'll talk after the call.
I've
got some numbers in front of me.
All right. Well, so before we go, I do want you to promote your stuff that you have going on that is going to be coming up real soon, because it ties perfectly, even though it's not Lego based, it ties perfectly to what we've been talking about the last hour.
It's almost as if I sent you a preview of it today.
I have no idea what you're even talking about.
So, for anyone who doesn't know, I do a lot of other stuff in the Jurassic community, including podcasting and producing content. And I've been working on an audio drama that is set between the events of Jurassic World Fallen Kingdom and Jurassic World Dominion. That's designed to follow the US Fish and Wildlife Service and give people a little bit more of dinosaurs in the wild. So how those initial interactions have happened, what kind of scenarios people have encountered, all of those sorts of things are really what this audio drama is all about. So it's called Tales from a Jurassic World. You can find a YouTube channel for it, or you can follow me on Twitter at Tom_Jurassic, where I'll be posting about it lots. And the initial season is going to be 6 episodes, picking up from the end of Fallen Kingdom, and running concurrently with some other events in the universe to hopefully give a nice connected story that people are going to enjoy. So Matt has already heard a little teaser from it that will be releasing in 2 weeks' time as of today's recording. So it might already be out by the time you're listening to this. And there will also be behind the scenes videos, one which has released tonight, again at time of recording, which is talking to the sound designer Brooks Leiby, all about the sound design in this audio drama and how he's approached scoring it. And then we will also have another interview talking to Ashley Friel and Jared Ransom, who play Lucy Brown and Ben Morrison, the 2 main characters in the drama. So first episode should be releasing in April. And I'm really, really excited to share it with everyone. It's been a real labour of love for the past few months, and it's so genuinely exciting to finally be at the finish line.
I have been waiting ever since you had mentioned that this thing was coming, that you were working on it. I've been waiting. And yes, I was lucky enough, and I probably listened back to it, I don't know, 10 or 15 times already. It just hits so hard. It just captures the essence of Jurassic. It just, I cannot wait for everything. So those of you that have just heard that, you're going to need to check it out. Where will they be able to check it out, Tom?
Okay, so it will air on the Jurassic Park podcast. And it is also going to air on its own unique YouTube channel. So there is a YouTube channel at Tales from a Jurassic World. and the entire series will be uploaded to that channel. And that channel's also got some behind the scenes. It's got our Halloween special that we produced in October of last year, and it's also got the soundtrack from that Halloween special as well. So make sure you go and subscribe, because that YouTube channel is going to be a hub for all of the content around this show.
That's fantastic. So it will be in the show notes in here as well. So those of you that want to follow to it and set your notifications on the bell, subscribe to it, set the notifications so you know when that stuff comes out.
Thank you for letting me promote it as well. I really appreciate it.
Of course. The other thing, is it going to, you're not going to drop, better question, are you dropping all of the episodes at once, or are they releasing weekly?
It's going to be, it's either weekly or bi-weekly. Okay. I can't remember how it will work exactly, but it's going to be a fun sort of slow build for people. And what I will tease for you, and I think you'll understand exactly what I say when I say this, Matt, and this is something that broader listeners will find out in next week's behind the scenes anyway, is one of our episodes picks up directly where a certain short film leaves off.
Okay. I know what you're talking about. That's perfect. So last thing, when I listened to that preview snippet, which you guys are going to love.
Do you know what? At this point, Matt, I will send you the preview snippet and you can stitch it in.
I can do that if you so choose.
Go for it.
The interesting thing is, when I heard that, there's a podcast. It was like a short series. It was like 8 episodes. It was called Impact Winter. It was like vampires, but something, I don't know. It was incredibly well done. And I was like, oh my God, I wish there was something else. When I listened to that 50 plus seconds, that is immediately what came to my mind. If any of you have listened to Impact Winter, it is great. If you have not, even you, Tom, it is a really good.
Check that out.
It is a really good. It's a podcast, but it's a story. It's incredible.
Yeah.
So
So that's exactly what we're aiming for with this. This is it's more of a narrative. So there is a narrator. So I talk through a lot of the scenes, but there's a lot of diegetic sound as well. So you have, say, for example, one sequence takes place at a petrol station. So there's the sound of petrol from a pump running onto the floor. You've got the sound of one of the car doors doing its clicking because it's been left open, and those kinds of things. And then obviously you have, like that trailer shows, a lot of really rich dialogue from a wide range of different people. So I'm really excited about it. It's something that I first got into during COVID when I did a Halo audio drama. And I really enjoyed working on that. So it's really exciting bringing what I learned during that process to a Jurassic project as well.
I hope it does really well for you. So do I. We talked about it before we started about you retiring and never coming back. Hopefully this thing can, like you said, get picked up or go viral. That would be incredible.
Fingers crossed. I mean, at the end of the day, it's been a really fun way to connect with new people in the community. So I'm very grateful for that. And I know that the people who do listen to it will hopefully get a lot out of it. So that's enough on its own. And anything else that happens is just an added bonus.
Awesome. Well, that's going to tie up the show. I am glad you're here. Once we wait on the release date of these sets, we'll have you back and work around Atticus's schedule, because it will be summer then, so I could do whatever. You want to do it at 3 a.m. my time, by all means, let's go. So
perfect. I'm down.
We will have that working. So make sure you guys go check out the links. They are in the show description, or will be when you hear this. Check it out, and we'll go from there. But Tom, thanks again so much for your time today.
Yeah, no worries, Matt. Thank you as always for having me on. It's been a lot of fun.
Well, that's going to do it. That's going to wrap up the episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did, as much as Tom did. It was such a blast to have him back on and really take a deeper dive into the new JP sets that are coming in June, which I'm so excited for. So after this, you have that opportunity to listen to the 54 seconds of greatness preview for Tom's new audio drama coming up. Until we meet again, I'm your minifig host, Matt. Let's build on it.
It's good they're taking this seriously. You read about the San Diego incident, right?
I was in college at the time. Didn't imagine I'd ever see a living dinosaur.
Field Chief Marcus Ramirez, FBI. I'll be taking these off you for now.
Humboldt County Sheriff's Department has put a 1-mile exclusion zone in place around the animal.
A lot is still happening with the hearings in Congress right now, but there are rumors we'll be working with the private sector to contain them in the long term.
The rest of your people are here. They've got a capture cage with them. Ready to get this thing out of here?
Things can get out of hand in a second.
You know, I always wanted to visit Vegas. Just, not like this.
Lucy, I need another dart. Now!
Tales from a Jurassic World. Coming soon.